Of course. So, challenged. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is our story. Our story begins with Keandre's adoption. I tell you that because it had a profound impact on Keandre's life. And so Keandre was adopted at 4, and before we could tell him, his cousins told him he was adopted. And it brought a lot of challenges for us. And Keandre, after they told him that, Keandre struggled with identity, struggled with just that acceptance of being loved. And so it was difficult for him. By the time he was in the 7th grade, we started seeing major impact from that. We kind of knew he struggled with some of those things, but he was at a Christian school from, all the way up till 6th grade. That school closed down, and he went to Tappan Middle School. So he went from about 6, 7 kids in the class to a lot. And so it was kind of tough.
It was a struggle. Coming from a private Christian school with only 6 or 7 kids in the class to one of the biggest middle schools in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I struggled a lot. Around that age, you kind of start to develop who you want to be in life and the kind of person you want to be, and I was struggling with that. I didn't know, and there were so many different groups of people in school that I just couldn't grasp on who I was as a person and being okay with being myself. When I got into 8th grade at Scarlett Middle School, I had transitioned from Tappan. Like most kids around that age, I started getting on social media. And in doing so, I ran into my biological family. With them reaching out all at once, it became overwhelming for me. Can you imagine just a 14, 13-year-old kid and about 30 different people coming to you at once saying, hey, we're your real family?
So, unfortunately, when that happened, Keandre now is kind of getting into coming out of middle school, going into 9th grade. He's at 9th grade at Lincoln High School. And, we were just dealing with normal teenage stuff. Can I do this? No, you can't. Can I do that? And so he wanted to go to see a basketball game. And I said to him, well, you can go if you take care of your business first. Well, unfortunately, Keandre didn't take care of his business. However, Keandre took it upon himself to attend the game anyway. And so he left that morning for school and did not return. You want to tell him what happened while he was there? I'm sure he's seen a great game. But
just to break it down, I became of the age where I felt like, that most kids do. And when you get to high school, you don't have to hang out with your parents anymore, or it's not cool to hang out with your parents, and I wanted to hang out with my friends. At the time, we had the #1 basketball player in the country, and I just had to go. I had to be there. And so, knowing that me going to the game, I couldn't go home. I was just so stubborn that I thought if I went home, I'd let my dad win. There would be consequences for me. I would get yelled at, all these things, and I just couldn't let him have it. So I contacted my biological grandmother, knowing that she would respond since they were so eager to get into contact and meeting me. And in doing so, I went home with her that night. At first, it was awkward and silence. I didn't know anything about her. She didn't know anything about me. And so I had all these millions of questions, and then I didn't have answers. And the very next morning, I woke up, and my biological mother was there. For me, that really, it affected me a lot. And it still affects me to this day. Could you imagine that? Someone just coming into your face and saying, hey, I'm your real mother. I'm your real mother, when your adopted mother has been the only mother that you've known your whole life. I had so many questions, and I didn't have answers.
Yeah, that was sounds like it was a tough time. He told the grandmother that we kicked him out, and he couldn't come back. And so she came and got him. And actually, I had knew her pretty good, because when he was in foster care, he had a sister, and the grandmother would bring the sister, and I would bring him so they could visit. And so her and I would sit there and talk. So I knew her pretty good. And so I thought, well, he's struggling with identity and trying to figure out who he is. And, we know he's struggling. How about we just allow the relationship with the grandmother to continue? Well, that wasn't a great idea. Because when we did that, it was already dealing with the stresses of everyone, but it allowed, everybody, mom, brothers, sisters, uncles, kind of to come in, and it created even more of a problem for him.
And so at the beginning of 9th grade, I started to build this relationship with my biological family. And it tore me apart. On one side, my biological family, a family I didn't really know, but was longing to be accepted, they were completely opposite from my adopted family, the family that I grew up, the only family that I knew and what I was raised into. On one side, it was drugs and just things of that nature, criminal activity. And on this side, with my adopted family, it's uptown, happy Christianity, kind of like Full House vibes. And so struggling to keep up with both of those worlds, it tore me apart. I felt like I had to act one way over here and act another way over there, when in reality, I could have just been myself all along.
Right.
Yeah, that was tough. And he actually said to me once, I have to. And I'm trying to figure out and understand what are you saying? And he like, I have to. Like, I have to be this way. Because if I don't, I won't be accepted. And so for him, it was like, this is who I am, because that's who they are. And so I can imagine the things that he was going through at that time. Well, anyway, fast forward a little bit, 9th grade, 10th grade, social media. And social media is always a problem. Well, he gets into a situation where he ends up on with probation, and which was a blessing because it brought the advocacy center in. And so once he came in, the student advocacy center came in, that allowed us to kind of, take a step back and allow them to, step in and do their thing. And praise God, they did. You want to tell them a little bit about student advocacy?
At first, I wasn't too fond of the student advocacy center. I thought it was like some therapy group or something, or some place where you go where kids needed help, and or like if something was wrong with you. I was wrong. It's where I met my good friend and my mentor, Myron Harding. At first, I wasn't too fond of Myron either. Believe it or not, Myron was very, he was so consistent. And he would call me and he would text me and he would show up at school and I'm just like, whoa, like relax. But over time, when I got to actually meet him and understand, I found out that to Myron it was more than a job for him. It was more than just getting paid. He truly cared about me and the things that I was going through, and for that I'm grateful. Myron introduced me to different things that I have never thought I'd be able to do. Myron, we went hiking before. We played basketball. We went to basketball games. I've tried food I've never tried. Myron showed me that it was okay to be myself.
Yeah.
you can always come here. You have a safe space. Whatever you want to talk about, you will not be judged. Anything you're going through, I'm right here, or I'm one call away. Myron forever changed my life. Myron made me a better person. And so for that, I thank the Student Advocacy Center for sending him my way, because without Myron, I don't know where I'd be right now.
And I would say that one of the things that I appreciated about student advocacy is they allowed me to be a part of what him and Myron was doing. Myron always, when I say always, just like he texts him, Myron texts me. Myron called me. He let me know what was going on, what they were, what his goals were with them. He let me know what was going on at school, what the expectation was, what we need to work on. And so he allowed me to be into raising him, but still stepping back from and allowing someone else to come in and be that support that he needed. And so for that, I too am grateful. My family is grateful for all that student advocacy and Myron especially has done. And I'm sure you guys will be, because I am very proud of what Keandre has come.
With the help of the Student Advocacy Center, Myron Hardy, and my family, I'm proud to say that I am a 2023 graduate, and I will be going to college and studying physical therapy.